Please welcome, Prof.
Welcome, and then we are all waiting for your wisdom on how to survive on this pandemic crisis.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much. First, I'd like to thank PQM Consultants for organizing this very important webinar, especially during this crisis. I'd like to thank Pa Cristanto and Pa Yan for sharing the things we wrote in our book, Turnaround Management, and also for Pa Yan for sharing his personal experience. Well, just a note, Pa Chris and I are really thinking of writing a second book, right? After this pandemic. Hopefully,
writing on the pandemic is more serious one.
2 or 3 years from now, if we all survive. Anyway, I think the main takeaway from the lesson is, we have to take charge, right? Management has to take charge. So leadership is the most important, I think, as mentioned by our two panelists. And looking at opportunities instead of problem, right? I think this is key to any crisis. I like just to add a few points because though a lot of things we teach in turnaround management are very applicable during this pandemic crisis. There are some differences, right? Okay, and I'll share in a few minutes how to cope with these differences. The first one is this is a health crisis. This is not an economic crisis, this pandemic, right? Okay. The problem is this health crisis produced two other crises. One is economic crisis and the other is a social crisis, okay? This is a different crisis compared to recession, right? In recession, like the Asian financial crisis of '97, we can turn around, right? We can recover through financing, right? More money dole outs. In other words, in a recession, you can go back to the old normal. In this pandemic crisis, you don't go back to the old normal. You go back to the new normal. This is very difficult, right? We never experienced this, except probably in 1918, no? With the Spanish flu after World War I, right? Everybody went back to the new normal. There was no old normal after World War I, right? And the Spanish flu, right? So this is very difficult, okay? It requires more than turnaround management. We have to think outside the box, right? This is not your typical crisis management. Okay, so I gave some pointers in my Facebook and my LinkedIn. You can go into that. I've written a lot of posts, right, on my thoughts about this. I don't have much time to cover, but in a few minutes I'll share some of this, right? So the same, right? We have to do defense and offense, right? Defense and offense, which we call in our book crisis coping and crisis proofing, right? Okay, how do you defend? Of course, the first is defend. We have to survive this pandemic, right? Okay. One is, of course, I call it 2C plus 2S, right? 2C means cash, customers, and 2S is staff and suppliers, right? These are your 4 vital signs. Take care of them because without them, there is no business continuity, right? You cannot move to offense. You cannot move to crisis coping. So make sure you have enough liquidity to tide you over during the crisis. You have enough buffer. When you start the economy, you have enough cash. Of course, take care of your customers. Ensure them you're still around, right? Take care of your staff like your family members, right? Because you need them when you restart the economy. Avoid downsizing, as we said, right? And then supplier, right? Supplier, very important. Your supply chain, they have to be kept alive because when you remove the lockdown, you need your vendors, right? Okay, so those are very important as the first step in this so-called crisis management. Okay, the more difficult is the post-pandemic, right? What happens during the post-pandemic? The post-pandemic is also a crisis, right? It's not the end of a crisis. It's the beginning of a bigger crisis, right? Affecting more people, even those who are not infected, right? Even those who are not infected will be affected in the post-crisis, post-pandemic, because there'll be economic crisis and social crisis, right? So how do you cope with this? Because this will be a big problem. Just imagine the airline, right? The airline. In the 1998 Asian crisis, tourists and travel were down, right? So the airlines had a problem. But after the Asian crisis, they recovered, right? People start flying again. But not in this pandemic, right? After this, during the lockdown, there is nobody traveling, right? So all planes are down, right? Even Garuda, even Philippine Airlines, even Singapore, all planes are down. But after the post-pandemic, they're not going to fly again, right? Nobody will travel because of social distancing, right? Airline will become infeasible, right? Prices will go up because capacity is limited to 30 to 50% to remove the middle seat, right? It's like flying business class, right? Everybody will fly business class at the cost of economy class. People, the airline cannot make money on economy class prices. Of course, if you charge business class fare on economy seat, people will not buy, right? So the business model of airline will be at question, right? This did not happen during recession. Okay, this is the new normal, right? So what is my suggestion in this pandemic? We have to think differently. We have to restart. We have to reboot, right? When you reboot, it's like rebooting a computer with a new operating system, not old operating system, right? Huh? It's like Windows 8 to Windows 10. It's a very different system, right? You see what I'm saying, right? You're not gonna reboot to the same OS, right? It's a different OS, right? With different rules, right? And many programs will not run. It will become incompatible, right? Many business will not run again because of the new operating system, which we call new normal. Okay, so this is the dilemma of many companies. They're all waiting to start their business, but they cannot start. Their business will not run again, right? Under the new rules, right? So my final suggestion, I've talked about this in my Facebook and LinkedIn post, is pivot, right? Pivot. How do you pivot, right? Or how do you transform your business? We call this setup, right? In lean management, setup, right? How do you set up or reconfigure, huh? But this has to be quick setup, right? Huh? It's like SMED, right? Quick setup, because you don't have time to scale up very long. No time for learning curve, right? Because you're paying money, you're paying fixed costs, right? Okay, fixed costs will not stop, right? Okay, it's running. You cannot stop the cost from running. So as you're setting up, make sure you're transforming your business into something more relevant to the new normal. Okay, especially social distancing, right, and traceability. You see, social distancing is not an economic crisis; it's a social crisis, right? We're not used to this, right? Okay, economists cannot help this. Government subsidy cannot fix the social crisis, right? They can only fix economic crisis, like give money, give dole outs, right? But if your business is required to have social distancing, that becomes a social crisis. Consumers will change behavior, right? And then your product becomes obsolete. Your service becomes obsolete. This is a problem with barbershop, with spa, right? Because there's high contact, right? Okay. So how do we do this? So it's gone, right? Airline is high contact, right? You're only 1 inch away from the next passenger. We need 2 meters. We need 2 meters distance, not 1 inch, right? You know, when you sit in a plane, Pak Chris, you're like a mummy. You're like an Egyptian mummy for 3 hours, right? You cannot move because the next person is just 1 inch away, right? That's not allowed already. Huh? FAA will not allow that. Airline authorities, your health ministry will not allow those kinds of configuration, right? Same with restaurants, food malls, everybody, right? Movies, right? Movies. So this will change. I think a lot of participants are in the food business and travel business. So you have to transform quickly, right? How do you produce a new product that's still relevant to the market? Okay, just a caution. I wrote about this. The solution is not necessarily going online, right? This is dangerous thinking, right? Many business cannot go online. It's ridiculous why they throw money at this, throw technology, right? Throw digital transformation is not the solution, right? Because there's a social crisis, right? Okay. So you have to innovate because people will still need physical contact with your customers, with your product. Not all products can pass through fiber optics, right? Or through wires, right? Okay. Only information products can pass through like this consulting and education, right? The rest, getting a haircut, you cannot do that digitally if you want to get a haircut, right? Okay. So I wish I wish that you can start thinking about this, all participants, right? Please do not think about your business as going back to business, right? The environment will change. This virus changed the game. It's a game changer, right? It's a game. They changed the rule. The virus changed the rule. Okay. It caused 3 crises: health crisis, economic crisis, social crisis. Okay. So typical turnaround may not work because typical turnaround is just for economic crisis, right? It cannot solve a health crisis and a social crisis, right? So those are my thoughts, Chris. I'm sorry, I don't have much time. I don't want to extend. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Let me just summarize and what you said. I think is very important for all of us. Saya akan bicara dalam bahasa Indonesia sekarang, Bapak Ibu sekalian, dari Prof. Domingo tadi. Pointersnya yang pertama adalah kita semua sepakat manajemen harus to take charge. Saya, Pak Yan mengatakan, Pak Prof mengatakan, ya, manajemen harus tanggung jawab untuk menghadapi ini, gitu ya. Kemudian tadi mengutip dari yang disampaikan Pak Yan, jangan semua lihatnya problemnya saja. Coba di dalam masalah itu ada peluang apa saja yang kita bisa gunakan. Cuman dari Prof. Domingo, dia mengatakan, hey, ini krisis 98 waktu kami menulis buku, sepertinya tidak persis sama dengan sekarang. Yang sekarang ini ada keseriusan baru, seperti yang saya sebutkan tadi di dalam lingkaran setan, bahwa ini bukan cuma sekedar ekonomi, ini juga adalah health crisis, ini juga social crisis. Dan Prof. Domingo mengingatkan bahwa sepertinya kita akan kembalinya bukan kepada situasi normal, tapi kepada situasi new normal yang tidak tahu persis seperti apa nantinya. Dan kita mesti ikut mencermati kemanakah kita nantinya di era yang new normal tadi. Saya juga sudah melihat dari tulisan Prof. Domingo di Facebook dan di LinkedIn beliau, saya sangat sarankan Anda mencari di sana dan banyak tulisan hampir setiap hari Prof. Domingo menulis mengenai implikasi dari COVID dan krisis ini. Yang kedua adalah Pak Domingo menambahkan yang sebetulnya ada di buku, yaitu mengenai postur coping dan proving, defense dan offense. Dia mengingatkan ada 4 hal yang kita selamatkan, 2C dan 2S. Yang C adalah cash and customer, yang ke S adalah staff dan supplier. Ini adalah menjadi tantangan kita untuk bersama-sama merescue posisi cash, posisi customer, staff, dan supplier. Bapak Ibu sekalian, Pak Prof. Domingo juga mengatakan ini situasi ini nanti sebentar lagi moga-moga pandemik akan lewat. Tapi justru masalah yang nanti akan terbesar adalah di post-pandemic. Di mana masalah sosial, masalah new normal yang baru ini yang akan mengubah, si virus ini akan jadi game changer, yang Bapak Ibu sekalian kita semua masih meraba-raba bagaimana cara berada hidup dan survive dan sukses di new normal. Ya. Analogi yang disampaikan oleh Prof. Domingo menarik sekali bahwa hey, ini sepertinya kita akan merubah OS komputer kita. Di mana kalau kita pakai OS yang lama, banyak sekali aplikasi yang nggak jalan. Gitu ya. Tapi masalahnya untuk masuk ke new system dan new operating system ini, perubahannya harus cepat. Nggak punya waktu kita. Kita harus sekaligus change operating system, transform, reconfigure, quick setup semua sekaligus, supaya kita bisa siap menuju new normal. Jadi pemikiran-pemikiran out of the box diperlukan supaya kita semua bisa selamat dan bisa kemudian survive dan menjadi organisasi yang visible lagi di era new normal. Satu kritik terakhir adalah mengenai can we just go online? Prof mengatakan hati-hati, tidak semua yang kehidupan kita ini bisa dipindahkan ke online. Yang online informasi dan data, tapi kita nggak bisa tukang cukurnya online misalkan. Dan semua yang dalam kehidupan manusia dan bermasyarakat adalah kaitannya dengan konteks dan touch. Jadi waktu nanti kita kembali ke situasi new normal, ada bayang-bayang di belakang mengenai touchless, mengenai distancing, yang kita juga harus sikapi dengan solusi-solusi baru. Jadi itulah kira-kira Pak Moderator yang saya bisa sampaikan dari Prof. Thank you, Prof. Thanks a lot. Hope that people will look at your LinkedIn and
Facebook, yes, it's
Facebook, so that we can all learn from that. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Domingo, Pak Kris, dan Pak Yan. Bapak Ibu, saya ingin mengapresiasi juga Bapak Ibu yang masih setia dengan acara ini karena kita akan masuk ke pertanyaan tanya jawab. Sesi tanya jawab yang kedua ini, bahkan Bapak Ibu juga bisa bertanya kepada Prof. Rene. Jadi saya menunggu Bapak Ibu yang ingin bertanya, jangan lupa raise hand, buka mikrofon, dan kemudian buka videonya. Ya, saya akan mulai dulu dengan Pak Dudi nih, Pak Dudi Amrullah. Ya, Pak Dudi Amrullah. Ayo, silakan Bapak untuk mulai bertanya, Pak Dudi. Bapak boleh silakan bertanya kepada Prof. Rene atau Pak Kris atau Pak Yan, Pak Dudi. Silakan Pak Dudi. Halo, Pak Dudi. Mana Pak Dudi? Pak Dudi?
Ya, sudah kelihatan tapi ya, mesti unmute.
Semangat pagi Pak Dudi.
Udah. Oke.
Ya, silakan Pak Dudi. Nama kemudian dari perusahaan apa Pak Dudi? Silakan.
Terima kasih Pak Yono. Perkenalkan nama saya Dudi Amrullah. Saya di FIT Danone Aqua.
Ya, silakan Pak. Bapak bertanya kepada siapa?
Ask to Prof. Ren.
Yes, please.
Prof. Domingo. Just wondering, you mentioned about the nice or interesting formula regarding 2C plus 2S.
Yes.
If you were as let's say entrepreneur position, which one the first that have to be sacrificed during the crisis?
Sacrifice.
Yeah, because we have no option. Let's say most in traditional way, staff will be one of the key because we do not want to lose our customer, right? But in your point of view, how do you manage this mechanism to manage at the end of the day the cash flow?
Well, of course, the most important is cash flow, right? Because if you have a loan, then the bank takes over. You're shut down, right? Okay. So cash is important because everybody will run after you. Then and the government can close you down, right? So cash is very important. Liquidity, just like in any bankruptcy, right? Companies become bankrupt because of liquidity, not because of the other customer, supplier, and it's liquidity that forces company to shut down, right? But after cash, I think customer is important, right? Because you need a market. The reason businesses are established because there's a market, right? Without a market, there's no business, right? There's no need for employees. There's no need for vendors if there is no market, right? So the market is the most important after cash. If your product becomes irrelevant, then you don't have a market. Forget about staff, forget about supplier, right? You have to make sure your product are still saleable, right? That's why you have to do innovation. Otherwise, there's no point keeping staff and keeping vendors. They have no work to do, right? There's no parts to buy. There's no job to be done. You don't know what you're doing, right? You're making the wrong product, even if you pay your staff, right? This is reality, right? Now, even cash is not important because once you have a good product, you can raise funds anytime, right? You can go IPO, you can get investors. You can get cash easily if you have a good value proposition. So the customer is the most important, the market. All businesses starts with the market. It doesn't start with staff, with cash, with vendors, right? It starts with the need, with the demand. Right? The demand side is what's great entrepreneurs and business. Not your money, not your friends, not your people, right? Okay. So make sure you take care of your product. Is it still relevant in the new normal? Once that becomes irrelevant, forget about the other C and the other 2S, right? There's no business to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, it's hard, but we have to define ourselves. Otherwise, we lose everything, lose solution.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank you,
Oke,
Pak
Pak.
Dudi.
I'll give the
Thank
time to
you, Pak
others.
Dudi.
Ya, makasih, makasih.
Ya, thank you, Prof. Rene. Berikutnya saya ingin memberikan kesempatan satu lagi, yaitu yang tadi sudah raise hand, yaitu adalah Ibu Mia Maria. Ya, silakan Ibu Mia Maria, silakan. Ya, Ibu Mia silakan menyebutkan nama dan dari perusahaannya. Silakan Bu, bertanya kepada siapa Ibu?
Oke, bisa didengar ya?
Bisa Bu, silakan.
Oke, saya buka video saya juga. Nama saya Mia Maria, saya dari Pasar Seni Ancol. Pertanyaan saya buat ketiga panelis ya, buat semuanya. Saya akan sampaikan dalam bahasa Inggris buat Prof. Rene juga. So, what do you think about arts and culture industry? I mean, I'm looking in the context of collective healing. What sort of role do you think arts and culture industry will be relevant to the people post-pandemic?
Can I have clarification? Did you say art industry?
Art and culture.
Art and culture.
Yes,
Art and culture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, art and culture is a very wide field. It starts with entertainment, with museum, right? With painting. It's very wide. So it depends on the sector, right? Okay, so I think museum are going to have a problem because you need people to visit museum, right? Physical travel, right? Okay, that's why they're doing 3D. I think this is where online is going to be will come on board, right? Okay, then you can see the pyramids in 3D. I think you've seen that in CNN, right? You can see the pyramid in 3D, right? So virtual reality, right? So you have to gamify. You have to gamify this kinds of visits, right? I don't know what about the other tourist spots. But when it comes to art, I think art has always been digital. We can watch a concert on TV, right? Okay, we can obviously we cannot go to the Louvre and see Mona Lisa, right? It's very hard to go to the Louvre now, right? Anyway, why would you want to go there? There's no social distancing inside the Louvre, right? Okay.
Exactly, especially in front of Mona Lisa.
In front of Mona Lisa, all you see are heads. You don't see the head of Mona Lisa. You see the heads of people, right? Huh? It's horrible. It's a horrible experience to go to the Louvre, right? Just to see Mona Lisa. I'd rather see it in the books, right? Or in digital, right? It's ridiculous, right? So I think art appreciation is one of those information products, right? That can go online, right? Because people cannot touch paintings, right? Okay, you're not allowed to touch paintings, right? In a museum, right? So anyway, so you don't lose anything online on the screen, right? Because the screen is visual, right? And you don't have to smell the sculpture, right? Which you lose also on the screen. It's all visual. So there's hope for arts and culture, right? Okay, except for sculpture because it's 3D. But I think with our technology, you can do virtual 3D scanning of a sculpture, like David, La Pieta, and all those kinds of things, right? So there's still hope. There's still hope.
Yeah. How about performing arts? Performing arts is quite tough, isn't it?
Well, performing arts is a game changer. No more rock concerts, right? No more rock concerts, okay? Because you need crowds, right? Even NBAs will have a problem, huh? NBA, huh? Sports, right? They need crowd to get energized, right? No more energized, right?
Yes.
Because spectators will be invisible. Right now, I'm talking to 200 people. I don't see you, right? So it's gonna be a big problem for rock stars, right? They cannot show their energy, right? They cannot see thousands of people. So this will be a game changer. I don't know the answer, Mia, but this is what I'm thinking of transformation. Huh? How do you transform? I just gave you the question. In AIM, we teach our students to ask questions. Huh? We don't give answers.
So you answer for yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. We answer with a question, right? What do you think, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I think there's a dimension that Prof said that you are still in the situation when we are in the pandemic. I assume that when we are going into new normal, with even with all of the cautious thing of touching each other and then not in enough distance with each other, but I think it's a human nature that you will actually embrace touch and then hug each other and then see the crowd experience. that probably in the era of new normal, we still have that opportunity to experience. So, well, okay, partly we will see Mona Lisa on the screen and then see the pyramid from the top of the pyramid through the 3D things. But I think we cannot fully replace the experience, I think, because people will have that emotion part and experience part and pride part. And then when somebody asks you, have you been to pyramid? Yes, in 3D. It's nothing. You don't feel it until you actually touch the pyramid. So you cannot actually be proud of seeing it in the
Okay, thank you, Prof. Rene.
There's a hope that the new normal, there's a space for that kind of art and culture businesses.
Oke, thank you Pak Kris.
Tuh.
Ya, thank you Pak Kris, Prof. Rene.
Oh,
Mudah-mudahan
ya,
bisa
cukup
menjawab
lah.
Bu Mari